on the ground. 2. Everyone will please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing as we will have a moment of silence for the 4 Marines that were killed in a training accident down at Camp Lejeune. We also will pay tribute to all those that are still fighting for their freedom in the Ukraine. I thank you, and you may be seated. Before we go any further, I just want to say how appreciative and grateful we are to have Terry McGrady back on the board. Councilman's been through the ringer there, but like Rocky Balboa and all those Balboa movies, he come out on top. So, Terry, good to have you back, sir.
Thank you.
With that being said, you have the agenda in front of you. At this time, if anybody would like to make any additional changes to the agenda, you may do so now.
I have one, Mr. Mayor.
And that being,
The change of date on Music on Main. Just the one tonight.
And I have one as well. Consideration of a contract to receive grant funding from App Health.
that being said, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
And a second,
Second.
all in favor, show of hands, please. 5-0 on the approval of tonight's agenda. You also have before you the minutes of our meeting from last month, March 1st, 2022, and the special meetings of the budget session that we held the last part of the month. I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes as presented.
So moved.
And do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, show of hands, please. 5-0 on that. As we move on to agenda item number 4 here tonight, this is our public comment section. Public comments at this time are to be addressing tonight's agenda and agenda items only at this time. When you come to the podium, you have 3 minutes. Just say your name and go ahead into your comments. At this time, anybody that would like to comment may come to the podium at this time about tonight's agenda.
Good evening. I'm Mike DeBose. I'm a board member of the Allegheny Arts Council. We're here tonight because I understood that the issue of the timing of the dates of the Music on Main program were going to be discussed. So I see that was added to the agenda item. We're here to respond to any questions that may have as a result of that agenda discussion. Be happy to do it now and anticipate what those questions might be, or I can wait until the agenda item comes up, whatever's.
If there's just anything that you want to say during your public comments, now's the time to do it because
I won't be called later. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know.
Okay,
I
understand.
I don't know what we'll do here. So.
Okay. Well, simply, the Music on Main program has been a successful program. I think that has been a consistent statement from both government bodies, the town, the county, people that we've heard on the street say that it's very happy, it's very well attended, promotes the town, young, old, locals, visitors, right, left, blue, red, everybody likes Music on Main. Well, the Arts Council was asked to take over Music on Main to both organize it, execute it, finance it this year. And we were asked to do that because of the expertise, the experience the Arts Council has had in putting on music events. We didn't ask to take it over. We were asked to help. We agreed to help. An early decision once we got involved is that we thought the objective of promoting the businesses downtown, promoting the town itself, would be better served by moving the dates from Friday nights to Saturday nights. That was based on a belief that a larger crowd would be attending on Saturday nights. Visitors can get here easily on Saturday for a Saturday night event than they can for an early Friday night event. The school system asked us to consider a Saturday night event, particularly for the fall, for the September and October programs, to avoid interference with high school football and other athletic activities. We've got volunteers at work. Asked them to work in the evening after a full day on Friday was also inconvenient. So those factors came into being that we wanted to do it on Saturday. We think that will be in the interest of majority of businesses, and we believe it'd be the interest of Allegheny Jubilee, who I think will be the topic of the agenda item. Be happy to work with Allegheny Jubilee and make sure that is beneficial to them and meet whatever objections they have. Be glad to address any other questions later this evening.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. Anybody else have any public comments on the agenda items here tonight? That being said, we'll move on out of our public comments at this time, and we'll transition into Allegheny Youth Activities, the committee presentation to the council by Ms. Madison Story.
Hello again. The last time I came and spoke to you guys about this topic, it was kind of a far off idea of something that I was really hoping to see through. You guys gave me the go ahead to try to start raising funds, and that's what I did. And along with the town's agreement to put $112,000 towards the program, we have at this point raised $211,000 out of $236,000 that we originally budgeted for the project. We are still waiting on a couple donors that we have spoken to that are working and have meetings to discuss the donations. But I really want to thank you guys for the support that you gave to this project. And I'm incredibly excited to see this come to fruition, hopefully this summer.
Thank you for your
Thank
hard
you
work.
for all your hard work.
I got a couple of questions.
Sure.
Wonderful project, certainly going to be well enjoyed by many children, not just in the town, but outside of the town and all around. The total cost is $236,000, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And is this, I know that things have been said, but officially while we're here in an open meeting, is this particular water splash pad going to have a recycling system that uses the water, treats it, and runs it back out? Is that the design that you all have chosen?
I'm really not sure that's Ryan's realm.
Yeah, that was part of the discussion we had very early on
Right.
when we started, and the council decided not to do that. It will be a freshwater system, which drastically reduces operation cost and maintenance.
Right. And I did do a little, and I know that was mentioned early on, but then I heard other things. Certainly did a little homework and research on my own, and that's absolutely correct. So how much water is this going to use? I mean, do we have some idea? Say if do you turn it on at certain times? Do you run it for 10 hours a day? Do you run it for 5 hours? How much water is it going to use?
So that is dependent upon the volume. There will be an activated control. So kids will have to activate it when they want to play. It will run for a set duration. They'll have to reactivate it. It's not going to be sitting out there just blowing water 24 hours a day.
And honestly, I've never been to a splash pad. A lot of things I've never done, but that's right there with it. So there's different stations.
Correct.
And the children just go up and they hit a button or whatever, and it sprays for a certain amount of time, and they play, and then it cuts off after a certain amount of time. So it's an on-demand system.
Correct,
So if there's no children there, it's not running water.
correct.
If there's a lot of children there, then they take turns, I suppose, and that sort of thing. So we don't have any idea, or we don't initially, until we see about how much, how many kids come out, and I'm assuming there will be quite a few, but we don't know how much. But then that water just goes into the sewer system,
Correct.
which now is in good shape thanks to all the hard work there. So does it use electricity to pump
Sure.
this water? So
Yeah, it's gotta have power.
so who pays for, and back up, I know that donations were made, y'all have a 5013C or whatever. But the town's gonna own it.
Yeah,
Correct.
we have actually not handled any of the finances. We have just
Raise money.
raised money and passed it
and
off
Pass it off.
to town.
So,
Yeah.
so we're gonna be responsible for water, we're gonna be responsible for electricity.
Certain.
So do we have any idea of what, is it an energy efficient type thing? I mean, I don't know what a sprinkler costs for, how much electricity is it gonna use?
We currently don't know because it is a demand system. So that's going to fluctuate depending on use and kilowatt hours, etc. So
But we don't have any kind of guesstimate, I mean,
it is a very low voltage system.
system.
All it is opening up a valve and closing it
Okay. So the
for
pressure,
16 amenities.
okay, so the pressure of the water actually shoots.
Propels it. Yeah.
Yeah, so the electricity, and I hate to be an idiot, but I like to know, and I'm sure the public wants to know too, they're looking forward to this thing. So the electricity just opens and closes. All right, at what point, certainly we live in the coal country, can this thing be drained?
Yes, ma'am.
So at a certain point in the year, we say, this is it, folks. So the whole thing's drained out and there's not any danger of damage due to the cold weather.
Correct.
So that certainly, and it sounds like a nice thing. So we'll just, in other words, we'll have to wait and see. And, we've had several discussions about water and the cost of water and different things, but there's not any, guesstimates from other splash pads on how much water it uses, or
That depends on
well, it depends
the
on okay.
usage
Volume.
and amenities. Each spray feature has a gallons per minute max flow. So we haven't set in stone how many. We have a target of 16,
Right.
and in totality, those can produce about 40 gallons per minute flow if they're all operational at once.
Okay, that's a number, yeah. And the last little point, and certainly we've got all kinds of good things going on at the park. How many parking places do we have over there? 30, 40? And I meant to go count them. I apologize for that, but
Probably maybe 50
50 spaces.
maybe.
So you think that'll be adequate on a hot summer day when everybody and his brother's there?
Do you want my honest opinion?
Well, yes.
I don't think the parking we have currently is.
Well, that's, I mean, it's nice to have something new, but it's kind of like when you buy a new car, can you pay for all the upkeep and so forth? So that was the thought I had. Are we gonna have enough parking? And if not, where are we gonna overflow parking? And that's something we'll look at down the road, I assume.
That would be part of the conversation we're gonna have at our park meeting on the 21st with the demolition of the Sturtevant house. That does open up opportunity for parking expansion, which would kind of be my recommendation. However, the committee would discuss that.
Okay. Well, I think it's a nice thing, certainly. I just want to make sure that once it's built, we can keep it going. Appreciate all your hard work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Madison, thank you for what you're doing and all the students and stuff that donated to this thing. I know the schools have really bounced up there and
Yeah.
answered the call on this. So thank you for
It's
everything.
really been incredible, the sheer number of people that have pitched in. The community is really behind this project. And I think that that's something that when you're looking at a project like this, does it have community buy-in? And there is no doubt that this has community buy-in.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you for everything. The only other lasting comment that I'll make on this splash pad thing is I find it extremely upsetting to think somebody would put on social media that would be doing recycled pea water and putting that on our kids. So if you are that far out there, you need to get some help. We'll move on to agenda item number 6, litter collection campaign, and this is by Susan Miles. And I'll pass this around to the council here. This is kind of what she's talking about right here.
Thank you all. This is a t-shirt that is given if you don't have one already on the day that you come to pick up litter. This is a example of what the DOT provides for us. So if you are picking up trash, you hopefully do not get squished. Okay? You're supposed to be careful. And this is a grabber. It will actually, no, it's not for grabbing noses. It will actually pick up a 16-ounce bottle that's full of liquid. These are available for anyone that would like, that's the best way to hold it. If you've got a business and you'd like to put it in your window, please let me know. Now, I'll talk. I might finish with the show and tell part. My name is Susan Miles. I'm here for 2 groups. I'm here for the Keep Allegheny Litter Free and All Up. Both of these groups are interested in making a difference in the appearance of the county. While the vegetation is lower, it is unfortunately a lot more noticeable about the amount of trash that we have. Several people have made comments about the excessive trash on the roads all over the whole county. For some history, in 2017, the group All Up started picking up trash twice a year. We did it once in the spring and once in the fall. Then Mark Whittle, he heads up the Keep Allegheny Litter Free, and it's affiliated with the Allegheny Chamber of Economic Development. Both groups encourage people to get out and to make a difference in how our appearance is. We want to hopefully educate people so that there won't be as much trash that ends up everywhere. With the needed trash cleanup, the schedule this year was last Saturday, then it'll be this coming Saturday, then we will not go the following Saturday, which is Easter weekend. Then we'll go Friday the 22nd and Saturday the 23rd. This allows opportunities for somebody that wants to come and work for 1 hour, or if you're really energetic, or if you're wanting to get your steps in, because you're exercising, you can come every single time. We'd love to have you every single time. Volunteers gather at my office, which is Miles Realty, which is right next door to Subway. We meet at 9:00. We provide bags, vests, some pickup sticks, some water, crackers, t-shirts if you've not gotten one before. And if you're picking up trash and it's not a time when we're doing it, these bright colors keep you safer. It's very important to be safe with what you're doing. The supplies are supplied by the DOT or Department of Transportation. They supply part of it. The Allegheny County Chamber for Economic Development, they supply part of them, and All Up supplies part of them. So it's a group effort wanting to make a big difference, hopefully. Last year, we had 103 recorded volunteers. We picked up 329 bags of trash, plus items that were too big, like mattresses, cardboard, tires, and miscellaneous car parts. In addition to that, there were 206 bags that were picked up by DOT. So, add this up. This is huge, guys. Absolutely huge. When you're going behind somebody and there's a trash that goes out of the car, it just absolutely infuriates me. And I hope it infuriates everybody in the room. Tell you a story. When my little daughter, we were going down the Stone Mountain, she had a little girl with her, and she decided she was going to throw out a bottle. Well, I stopped the car and made her pick up 2. She, to this day, doesn't throw out trash anywhere. So we need a few more people to please follow my footsteps and get angry about people throwing out trash. It does make such a difference. The TDA, or do y'all know what TDA stands for? Tourism Authority. Okay. They have a new program, which is literally just this long. And it's for groups that are nonprofits, 501c3s. You can pick up trash and get $10 for every bag of trash you pick up. So that way you've got some money while you're doing something good. And I mean, you do have to fill out some paperwork to get it. But that's a good way for a community project to hopefully make a difference too. So this year, Earth Day is on Friday, April 22nd. Please consider making a difference in our Earth. And thank you for allowing me to make some public comments. And thank you for caring enough to please participate. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Susan.
Before you step away, do you know how many bags of trash y'all collected this weekend?
We collect, no, I don't have the exact total because two people haven't told me. They took the bags to the landfill. The landfill closes at 12 o'clock on Saturdays, so they collected them themselves. That's another thing. The DOT we call them on Monday morning and tell them what bags. For instance, if you went 18 north, there were 8 bags between Napco Road and the top of the hill. If you went from 18 where the caution light is toward the landfill, there were 13 bags plus car parts and tires and things like that. And those are just the 2 that I'm going to give you an example of. But we really want to try to make a difference, and not just in Sparta, on 93. And if you're on 93, the shoulders are narrow, and it's really good to have 2 or 3 people so that you can have everybody to be safe, but to get the roads cleaned up too, while the vegetation's down.
When people come to sign up or to get bags and stuff, do y'all know, or do you have a list of areas that need to be hit the most?
We have a
That
list.
might not be
Yeah,
ideal for somebody to go, but
we do. We have a list of areas that need to be picked up, as well as somebody, let's say Millie comes. And
I'll
Millie
be
might
there.
want to pick
And
up.
I'll be there soon.
Okay, let's say she wants to pick up on the road that's there from the Whitehead Community Building. She might want to pick up that road, you know. Mike might want to pick up at the Veterans Park, you know. So you might want to pick up near your home, or you might want to pick up somewhere else that's really bad.
And
And
to
we'll
that,
make sure.
to that point, Susan,
Uh-huh.
you brought it up. You called my name. My dad always picked up everything on the road.
Uh-huh.
He always did. And we do try to carry on that tradition, and this is the time of the year that you see just what a mess. But I think it would be a nice thing too, that if you can't come after one of these things, then keep your own road clean. If you want it clean, keep it clean, you know.
Right.
So everybody can do in front of their house or whatever, but
That's right.
you know, you shouldn't really depend on somebody to come clean up your place on these side roads. Obviously.
That's right. But
Susan-
thank you all for.
Susan, if somebody wanted to do it at an off time, not one of these times, can they go to DOT and get the bags and things?
They can go to DOT and get the bags and things. If DOT is closed, I keep them year round. The vest,
They'll come to you or go to
Everything.
DOT?
either one. But DOT is always, if they're open, they have supplies, or I keep supplies at the office at all times too.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Susan, on behalf of the council, the citizens of this town and the county, thank you for your efforts in doing this. I know there's another young lady back here, Margie, that sits back there, that does the same thing and has been an advocate of this for a long time also. I'm proud to be a part of this and have been a part of this since you started it. We continue to do that. And I want to thank the over 100 volunteers I think you had this past weekend that went out and picked up trash. So everybody in this town, in this county that went out and picked up trash, kudos to you. And we salute you at this time. Thank you very, very much for your efforts.
Thank you. It takes a team effort. It's not me. It's the whole
It's everybody.
people working
Everybody
together.
doing it.
That's right. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Mhm.
Agenda item number 7 tonight is the Arts Council mural placement in Krause Park. And is that somebody
Thank you,
speaking on
Matt.
behalf of that, or is that you?
I'll tell you that.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Town Council. I was approached by the mural committee that is inside the Arts Council about locating an additional mural that is children themed in Krause Park. We met with them out at Krause Park and identified a 6x6 area that would accommodate a mural. They're getting an artist from Iowa to paint this, and he is actually bringing this mural out here within the next few weeks. And the rock bathroom has been identified as a place to mount that. That lower end of the park is very adjacent to the playground. A children themed mural, in my mind and the Arts Council's mind, would be appropriate for that. It would be weather protected, and it seems like an appropriate fit if the council so accepts that.
So you need a motion to approve
Mr.
it.
Manager, I'd like to postpone that until the park committee meets and get some more recommendations on that.
Sure.
We'll make that a motion to
I'll make the
postpone.
motion.
Have a motion to postpone until they can meet with the park committee. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. All in favor, show of hands, please. 5-0 postpone that till the next town meeting,
Next meeting.
next town meeting. Which has been May. Agenda item number 8, Mr.
Thank you,
Manager.
Mr. Mayor. Town Council included in your packet is a memorandum of participation for a required special separation allowance for law enforcement officers. It is something we're statutorily required to do. The league offers it at a discounted rate, and I would recommend you approve it.
Good thing.
We do it every year.
I'll make a motion.
Have a motion. Do I have a second? Second on the end. All in favor, show of hands, please. 5-0 on that. Consideration of resolution for wastewater plant grant application.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Town Council also included in your packet is a resolution that we discussed during the budget work session. It is to make application to DEQ for federal ARPA funds that they have designated that would allow us to upgrade a $10 million project to the wastewater treatment plant. And I would recommend you approve that resolution.
If we got that, that would put our wastewater treatment plant pretty much on track, right?
Correct.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second on the end. All in favor, show of hands, please. 5-0 on that recommendation. Mr. Manager, if you want to continue on, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Town Council also included in your packet is a resolution for discounting taxes paid before September at 2%. As we take over our collection of property taxes, there will be statutory requirements we have to make. Currently, citizens enjoy a 2% discount for paying their taxes prior to September. Staff thinks it would be a very wise decision to continue that, and that would be sent to the Department of Revenue. I would recommend that you approve that.
So moved.
Have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second on Cole. On the second. All in favor, show of hands, please. 5-0 on that. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Town Council also included in your packet is one last resolution. As you're aware, the town received an earmark appropriation for $1.3 million for replacement of Little River interceptor line. We submitted engineering drawings and plans for that construction phase. It was approved. We now have to accept that funding if we want to move forward on that project. And I would recommend you accept that 1.3 million.
So move.
A motion, do I have a second? And a second. All in favor, show of hands, please. 5-0 on that. Agenda item number 12 is a fundraiser event support, and Councilwoman Richardson will lead this discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We discussed last week that the Glade Creek Volunteer Fire Department has very successful mudslings at our fairgrounds facility, and due to statutory, as Mr. Manager alluded to, statutory limitations, we can't give them the water for the mudsling, although we certainly do appreciate all their hard work and their volunteer providing fire protection. And I might note that in the last month, I misspoke. When we have a call in the Sparta Allegheny Fire District, and Terry, certainly you weren't here at that point, but Glade Creek comes out too. So I know that they have been on 3 calls in our district this past month. So Glade Creek is a very integral part of our fire protection provided for our community. But we understand, as Mr. Wilma said, we can't statutorily give them water. So I did check with Monica L. Jackson, the senior assistant general counsel for the North Carolina League of Municipalities, and she said it's not a general statute per se, but, and I quote her, however, I do think the North Carolina constitutional concept of emolument, Whitney, help me. Emoluments comes into play where giving water to a person or entity, it forbids units of government from giving anything to people without any consideration. So what she said, to work around this, we would have to have a written agreement with the Glade Creek Volunteer Fire Department and demonstrate that the town is receiving some valid consideration in exchange for the water. Simple written contract between the VFW stating that in consideration for a nominal monetary amount, she said $5 or $10, then we can give them X number of gallons of water, and then we're going to be legal and good and fine with that, and that would put us back in the place to help these folks, and certainly Whitney would be able to help us write up that agreement. And then part of that would be that we're giving them this water. It will serve the community and will be for the public good. Well, we've already established that because it's a volunteer fire department. So if no one has any questions, or if anybody has any questions, certainly ask. If you don't, I'm going to make my motion.
I would like to say that we do appreciate Glade Creek Volunteer Fire Department for backing up the town of Sparta in the calls that we receive. But it is a back scratch thing. The town of Sparta and the Allegheny Fire Department back up every structure call inside the county. So if there's a fire in Glade Creek, Sparta is always called. If it's in Piney Creek, Sparta is always
Correct.
called. And also, I believe, I could be wrong, if we give water away, this council has already decided before to not give away free water. This is treated water that the taxpayers have paid that comes out of that hydrant. That is not a hydrant out there that is filled by well water. That is treated water that comes from the water plant, from the water authority. Am I correct, John? Mm-hmm. So we're already paying for that water, and to put that into a pit doesn't make sense to me. Now, I have no problem with trying to help out the fire departments and everything, but if we do this for one, we must do it for every entity that comes out and asks for free water. Am I correct on that,
No, sir.
Mr. Manager?
No, sir, it would be just.
That's if we had a contract. I'm
Yeah.
just saying we have to offer them the contract. Is that right?
They have to meet the qualifications. It's as she stated it, and I didn't get the email sent to you guys before the meeting. I apologize.
Right.
I sent it on out. It has to meet some criteria, as she said, for the public good, and it will serve the community. So the volunteer fire department obviously is a nonprofit. That doesn't mean that anybody that had a nonprofit could come in and say, we're not setting a precedent that would cause us any problem. If another fire department chose to have a mudsling, that would be something we would have to consider as well. But in the past, up until this point, the other fire departments haven't been doing mudslings. So I don't see this as being a costly or a problematic precedent that would get us into deep water, pardon the pun, on down the road. This is a specific case. And to your point, Mr. Mayor, certainly we don't want to just be wasting this fine treated water, but on the other hand, we certainly want Glade Creek and all the fire departments to be able to function. And this is not like they're doing 10 a year or 5 a year. So it's a nominal amount of water, and it's my understanding that we have more water every month than we actually use. So it's not going to put a strain on our supply, is it, or is it not?
For the place where they're having their mudsling, I mean, they got an ample supply of water out of Lesall Creek. I mean, the only thing they gotta do is to pond up a little hole right there, and, I mean, back when I was on the fire department there, we saved several houses there where we just had a little creek there, and we'd pump it out of that creek, and we'd end up saving that house. And they can do the same thing there. They got.
If y'all remember when this come in effect, we had a church come ask us to take care of the water bill, and we couldn't. So, you know,
And that is something we discussed before, but this is a unique situation in that this is a nonprofit that serves the.
Church is nonprofit too. Right?
Well, but the church is not, although it does certainly provide for the good of the community for those folks. It's
going
not,
to take care of it.
If-
I mean,
no,
If I may,
So,
something that we haven't discussed during this whole discussion of water, Glade Creek Volunteer Fire Department is funded by the Glade Creek citizens in their fire district who pay a fire tax. Sparta citizens pay a fire tax to the Sparta Allegheny Fire Department. I'm thankful for all our fire departments, but in saying that, then you're going to turn around and ask Sparta citizens who already pay a fire tax to pay for the water to go to Glade Creek Fire Department so they can have an event. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but if math is correct, we're talking about 0.003 per 100 gallons.
That is correct.
On average, or based on the last mudsling that Glade Creek put on, we're talking about 50,000 gallons, which would be $150. And I would be willing to put my money where my mouth is. And if each one of the council members gave $30, that would pay for their water. I would donate $30 to Glade Creek Fire Department and save our citizens the burden.
okay, and that's certainly a wonderful way to look at it. So you're saying that 50,000 gallons of water for the fire department is going to be $150.
That is
And,
correct.
and we also just discussed that we don't know how much water that we're going to use at the splash pad, but that's not going to be a problem because we have ample water. So $150 in our pocket, and Cole, that's wonderful. And certainly we could all pitch in, but you're asking the same citizens who may not have children that want to go to the splash pad to provide that water, and we're not charging them anything. So I don't see that letting the fire department have $150 worth of water is a big issue.
But then you have to look at too, coming up in July, the Sparta Allegheny Fire Department's going to have an event out at the fairgrounds as well.
Right.
And that's going to generate tons of water. So, I mean, people's going to be using water and stuff, I mean, for 2 days.
they have the derby and
And the demolition derby. I mean, there's going to be using water. So what's to stop them to come and ask for free water for that event? To enter into a contract with that. So then any 501c3 that's having any event in town is going to start asking for free water. And then the next thing you know, we're talking, instead of $150 for this one event, we're talking about thousands of dollars that we're giving away.
Well, that's a hypothetical. I don't think it's justified hypothetical, but it is a hypothetical. This, I don't see, the fire department's having their events out there. Certainly that's good. And this is one fire department's way of operating, and we can't sit here and say we're going to give Glade Creek $150 for food that somebody else might want to come and do something, but they're not gonna meet the criteria. I still don't see, I think it's certainly a nice thing to do to provide them with water, and they can make a little money, they can keep operating, but now it's totally up to you all. And again, if that amount of water is gonna be a problem, it goes back to our splash pad. We don't know how much water, so the actual amount of water is not a problem to anybody. Is that what I'm understanding? The actual amount, something that we can provide without putting ourselves in a bad place.
Right.
So we got plenty of water. Well, I'm gonna make the motion that we enter into a contract with the Glade Creek Volunteer Fire Department per event to provide them water as they are raising funds to keep their volunteer operation going, and they provide fire protection for us. That's my motion, that we have a contract drawn up per event. This is not an ongoing, open-ended thing that allows them to do it anytime they want, as much as they want. But since they did ask, and it seems to be prohibitive to them, that's my motion. If it's only $150, I think we can give it to them.
I have a motion on the floor to do the contract per event with Glade Creek Fire Department. Do I have a second? There being no second, motion dies on the floor. Moving on. We'll go into our manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just for informational update, I wanted to give you a quick update on the events to date with our earthquake recovery. The contractor has mobilized 2 crews, and they are working in the Sparta Parkway and Collins Road area. That was a change in schedule from our initial schedule due to a manhole failure on one of those parcels. So we have had to prioritize that area. They should be there in that area trying to divert existing sewage flow for about the next 2 months, and then they should go back to the normal schedule. So there will be some lane closures in Sparta Parkway and 18 intersection and that outbound 18 leg over the next 2 months. So I just ask that everyone be aware. There will be plenty of signage. However, that is a highly traveled area. So I just ask people to be mindful. It will be 8 to 5 work. There should not be any overnight operations.
Ryan, we notify the landowners that we're going to be doing this, right?
Correct. So the second item is an update to our comprehensive land use plan that we engaged in the 1st of January. We have received 322 survey responses, which is great. That survey will stay active for about 2 more weeks. So we encourage anyone that hasn't taken that survey to please do so. You can access it through the Town of Sparta Facebook page. The planning board should meet the end of April to review those responses, and then we will formulate a plan, at which point we'll have at least one public session during the day that folks can come in, review the plan, and provide comments before it comes to this board for adoption. So we will publicize that as we go along. But if anyone is not taking the survey, please do so. That is a critical piece to that project.
Mr. Wilmoth, can anybody from anywhere in the country that sees this on the website take the survey?
They can, but the questions should narrow down the responses if they answer truthfully. But
technically anybody from anywhere. And
Yeah.
so we got 322 responses. It may be from the town of Sparta, they might be from Allegheny, they might be from Elkin, they might be from Freeze.
Very well could be.
So, but it tries to be specific enough that it would weed out those folks. I
We
mean,
would
not
hope
that-
people would answer that truthfully.
Well, it looks to me like if somebody visits here and they want to make a comment about something to make it better, it'd be a valid comment.
It would be a valid comment, certainly.
That is the intent behind the public session where folks can come and review the
Right.
plan and provide some input to the final plan. Last item I have, a cruise in, there was some conversation about conflicts with them. That group has opted to move to the first Friday of each month, beginning next month, running through probably October. If the council so approves that, there will be no need to close streets, etc.
Do we know what time they're talking about on Friday?
Lisa's email did not indicate. I would assume after 5.
Okay.
So moved.
Have a motion to accept. Second.
Second.
Have a second on the end. All in favor, show of hands of the cruise in. 5-0 on that.
And then the last event is a can shake for the Lions Club. They want to do that July the 8th from 2 to 6 and July the 9th from 10 to 2.
So moved.
Have a motion to accept the can shake. Second. Second here by Mr. Clear. All in favor, show of hands, please. 5-0 on that. Thank you.
That's all, Mr. Mayor.
We'll go into the other business that we had here at hand. The first is the change of the date for the Music on Main, and Councilwoman Richardson has the floor.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor. We did make a decision at the last meeting to grant that change as per the request from the Arts Council. And there were some comments made about one of the impacted businesses and how it would help them and certainly profit them and help them and be a great thing. However, that business owner was not present at that time. And I believe Mr. Jack Jones is here today. If he would please step to the podium, I have some questions for him about the impact to his business, since we didn't get his input at that point. And Mr. Jones, don't want to keep you a long time. You have operated the Jubilee for how long, sir?
We've had, my family's had it for the past 12 years.
Okay,
And my uncle, Agnes Ernest, had it for years before. It's going into the 28th year.
28th year. And during that period of time, sir, have you, well, we don't need to go back that long. The last 2 years have been difficult for everybody. We had the COVID, we had the streetscape, had everything shut down.
Yes.
And certainly you all struggled as well. Did you ever, at any point in time, did you ever receive any monetary consideration from any government body? Did you get money from the COVID relief to help your business? Did you get any relief on your rent? Did you get any help whatsoever in keeping your business going during those difficult times?
No, ma'am. I did have a few members, I guess it's about a dozen that made a contribution. I think this is in COVID in 20,
Yes, sir.
amounted to about $1,800.
Okay, and that was just, you're saying members, you're saying folks that come. in.
People that come to the Jubilee, as far as Greensboro, around the country.
Right. Now, I think everybody understands you all have your Jubilee on Tuesday night, which is the smaller gathering, and then the big gathering is your Saturday night's your moneymaker. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, so on those Saturday nights, you have folks, I think you mentioned, come from different parts, from different places. They don't all come from Sparta, but they're
Yeah.
used to that Saturday night. Now, if the street is closed, will that make it difficult for your patrons to get to your business?
I think so. I'm elaborating. I've got a lot of my members that come to the Jubilee are in their 90s, like 96, 97. And, and people, the older we get, the more feeble we get.
True.
And, but that's where we're at.
And it's been my observation that on these Saturday nights, and this was prior to the streetscape, that the parking on both sides of town was full all the way, the parking lot at the bank, the parking lot at the Sparta parking lot next to the ABC store, and even down on South Main. I have many times seen all those parking places filled. Now, that speaks to the point that these folks don't want to walk a long ways and hike a long ways to get to the venue,
Jubilee, right.
and for reasons you just stated. So it was suggested by Ms. Halsey that if the Arts Council has their event on that particular night, then these folks would be directed to park at the bank and at the parking lot next to the ABC store, which is a novel idea. But my question would be, are we going to have a numerous town policemen up there stopping every car and asking them, are you trying to get to the Jubilee? Now, if when people come to the street closure and they see the street's closed, they're going to go left, they're going to go right. So we're not going to know who's trying to get to the Jubilee.
Okay.
And the people that are standing up there directing traffic are not going to know who's trying to get to the Jubilee. So I still feel, and I think that you do as well, that it's going to be difficult for these people to get to the Jubilee. Is that not correct?
Yes, ma'am. Until you have a lot of people drive up in front and let their passenger wives or
And go-
whatever out,
And
and then go park.
okay. Now, if this is on, and it was mentioned, it's just 6 nights this summer, correct? But now if you look at it from a percentage, 6 nights in the middle of the summer, that's 1 night per month. That's 1/4 of your business for the summer, which is the busiest time.
Right.
So that's 1/4 of your business. It's going to be adversely impacted so that this event can take place.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct? And I don't see that that's really fair to you guys. Since you've worked hard, you haven't taken any money, you built your business, and your folks are used to being able to reach your establishment.
Mhm.
So does anyone else have any questions? Mr. Mayor, do you have any questions for Mr. Jones? You've been,
Well, I think it's 1/4 is a little bit big because you have the Jubilee every Tuesday and every Saturday night, right? So
Right.
that's 52 weeks a year. So,
The only thing is, that's during the season that
right.
your attendance
Uh,
is higher.
I just had a thought that if the Arts Council is willing to help you with parking and getting your folks to the Jubilee, could we come up with some kind of like a parking pass to hang in the windows? That way the officers would know
I
that
don't-
these guys are going to the Jubilee, or we leave a lane open to where somebody could drive their spouse up there to that. I mean, I don't think that it's the obligation of the town or the council to get involved with these kind of issues. I would like to see you guys sit down at a table and work some kind of consensus out. And I understand, believe me, I'm a Jubilee faithful myself. I love it up there, and I've performed there and I've done all kinds of great things. And the Jubilee has done great things
Thank you.
for this community. And it's a staple of this community, no doubt about it. But I would hope that everybody, the parties involved, can we not sit down, those parties that's involved, and work out some kind of compromise that might be beneficial to everybody?
Right.
and that's certainly a very good idea and a valid point, but we did get involved when we gave people permission to have a non-paid event that forces this business to not be able to operate as they normally do. So we walked right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And not intentionally, and certainly not.
Well, we do that at the parade when we shut the street down for the parades. I mean, you
But the
know,
parades are on Saturday afternoon when it's not really. a
and
big-
then whatever everything else is. And I'm just saying, and Jack, you know, hey, I'm not there in your corner, but
Right, I understand.
can we not work together on some kind of compromise?
Right.
I'm asking you, since you're at the podium.
Well, I
I'll
think
ask
that-
the other ones here when they get to the podium.
Closing the street is a big concern to me. Not only to me, it's to the people coming, you know. And one of the big factors concerns me is we had an incident about 3 years ago. Man went down on the dance floor and unconscious, and we had to call the ambulance. And the sooner they can get there, you know, time is an essence to anybody that's needing help. And closing this main is, I have a reservation about that.
And
So
Mr.
it also wouldn't be as bad if we both hosted on Saturday night, if the street was open. You understand what I'm saying?
If I may, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
First, just let me say, if y'all can come to an agreement, that's best for everybody.
Right.
I personally will volunteer my time to help with parking for your patrons. I will help them to the door. If I have to bring a wheelchair, and I'm not joking about that. If I have to bring a wheelchair for those who don't want to walk that distance, I would bring a wheelchair and wheel them to the front door so we can end this disagreement
I
between
appreciate
both parties. I mean, for me, I think there's business for you to have, and there's business for the Arts Council to have. And I mean, I think everybody wins. And you may get patrons that you never would have gotten otherwise. And
Right.
so
Well,
let me lead into this. Yesterday, for anybody who watched the county commissioner's work session or watched the county commissioner meeting, I was quoted correctly by Commissioner Irwin, but he had his dates wrong. When I spoke last month at this town council meeting, I led off with a statement. Last year, I was on the Music on Main Committee. We worked hand in hand with the Jubilee.
right.
I'm almost certain, I don't have the books, but I'm almost certain we paid the Jubilee dancers to come out and perform. And there was compensation, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Well, I give them some, they didn't charge nothing, and we were given to book the bands. We worked with David Nichols on this. And,
Right, and he was part of the Music on
Yeah.
Main Committee.
And it was $250 per event,
Mhm.
and I give the $250 to the bands.
Okay, so I was mistaken on
But-
that, but we helped you pay
Right.
for the
But
bands.
we,
And so I was misquoted in the date.
Yeah.
And I asked Mr. Irwin to correct himself at the commissioners meeting, and he still didn't, so I'm
Yeah.
correcting it for him now.
okay,
And I just don't want to be made out to be a liar, and I don't want there to be any
I understand.
misunderstanding. But so I don't see why we can't work together again and, end the debate. And again, I'm here to volunteer my time to you to make sure all this goes off without a hitch.
okay.
And Mr. Jones did present us with a petition signed by almost 100 folks, a petition to change music on Main. Dates Allegheny Jubilee is a local family-owned music venue on Main Street, Sparta, North Carolina. Arts Council took a proposal to the county and town board meetings to change the day of music on Main from Friday to Saturday evenings. Jubilee is open on Saturday from 6 to 10 p.m. This would cause a conflict of interest due to the block US 21 in town. When Barbara Halsey, Arts Council President, was questioned at the board meeting, she stated Jack had agreed to this change, which is untruthful. Now, this is a petition from Mr. John. We are running this petition to inform the county and town boards that we will have a loss of revenue and attendance, as well as musicians that play and attend our venue regularly, as well as tourists that would attend if a medical emergency arose, would cause difficulty due to the block at Main Street getting medical attention, et cetera, et cetera. And we have bona fide signatures with addresses. This is not just scribbled down people that walk by. Each signature has an address, mailing address, and there's almost 100 names on this. So these are people who have a vested interest, who are going to be adversely impacted by this. And Mr. Jones wanted to present this petition to us, which I will put with our minutes or whatever. But it does seem to me that we're taking a business that's struggled and is just about to get up on their feet, and we're taking money out of their pocket, basically. So I think we should reconsider, certainly if some arrangement could be made. I'm sure Mr. Jones would be open to helping people get to his establishment, but it's going to take more volunteers, and Cole's already stepped up to say that he would, so I think we should reconsider moving this to Saturday night in light of, how it's gonna impact this established business.
Jack, do you have anything else that you'd like to add? Because I'd like for the other group to be able to respond also.
Okay. I do appreciate time to come before y'all. Appreciate each one of you, council members and manager, all of you, allowing me at the time. But I will say, during this epidemic thing in last year in 2020, Johnny, my oldest son, owns the Jubilee with me. And we put 10,000 into it in 20, our money. And last year, around about 3,500. And the Jubilee just now getting to where it's standing kind of like it was before. It's took a while, but we do a lot of cleaning at the Jubilee. And so far, we've not had a COVID case that come out of it. And but it is clean, sterilized after every event. That's on the dancers on Monday night, the Tuesday night, and the Saturday night. So.
But Saturday night is your moneymaker, correct?
Yeah, Saturday night. But we couldn't survive without Tuesday night either.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, let me go on record saying that
Yeah.
there is no better place than the
Yeah.
Jubilee right now in the town of Sparta.
Oh, I
Thank you
appreciate
for
that,
everything
Wes.
that you've done and continue to do. And hopefully we can get the groups here to come to a
Okay.
resolution, okay?
All right,
John,
thank you.
We're right there with you, brother. We're right
Okay.
there with you.
Thank you.
And at this time, I'm gonna just ask Barbara Halsey if she'll come up and respond. I think it's fair enough to hear both sides of the equation. And while Jack is here and we have both parties, maybe you guys can meet after the meeting and get this thing resolved.
I am Barbara Halsey, President of the Arts Council, and I have a handout here. If you will just take one and pass it around, please. And Millie, if it is appropriate, would you read to me that comment that you made that I think in the petition that something about
Yes, ma'am. The Jubilee is open on Saturday from 6 to 10 p.m. This would cause a conflict of interest due to the block US 21 in town. When Barbara Halsey, Arts Council President, was questioned at the board meetings, she stated Jack had agreed to this change, which is untruthful.
Thank you. First of all, I will address that comment. I have made more than one attempt to call Jack. I was given his phone number, home phone number, by Agnes Joins, who is related to Jack. Love her. You all know her well. I asked for his cell phone because I felt like that would give me a better way to get to him, and she refused, and I have no problem with that. She did not want to do that without his permission. So I have not been able to get in touch with him, but so that statement is untrue. Being a teacher for 32 years, I learned long ago that it's very important to keep a paper trail. And if you will look at the date of this email, it was made on Wednesday, April the 20th, 2016. So April, we started Music on Main in June of 2016. So this was in April. And Fred Fender, a wonderful, wonderful community leader who recently passed away, the two of us worked closely together. And one day we were sitting in Becca's having lunch, and I had almost $900 left over from the Backwoods Beat Music Festival. And I threw out the idea, why don't we take that money and put music up and down the street until we run out of money? And I wrote him a note, and of course we had to get approval, contact all the businesses. I had many, many meetings. I've got emails at home of every meeting I held with all the merchants. I even have a memo in here after the first one where I went around to every merchant and asked them exactly what happened that night. Did they make any money? Was it a good night for them, and so on. But this email exchange between Fred and me was concerning whether or not we should contact the chamber to be our main point for mom in our advertising. And I said, Fred, I feel the chamber should be our contact point. And I want you to listen carefully to the next line. Not my bad news, but my good news is that the Jubilee is coming on board. And that is after talking many, many times to Jack on the phone and asking him if he would agree to let us have music in there one time, because to me, I totally agree with what the mayor said. The Jubilee is the anchor of Music on Main. I cannot imagine starting Music on Main without having the Jubilee. And when I did this, I created a Venn diagram, which I have a copy of. And in that Venn diagram, I pointed out that we had all the reason in the world to do this because music was in the center. And why would we start music in a town that didn't have it? So I went around and I said, okay, music's our Appalachian roots. We have TJ Worthington Music Festival, which is Backwoods Beat. We have the Krause House Pickers. We have the stage at Krause Park. Big Daddy Love originated from here. We have the Wayne Henderson Music Festival. We have Jam, which was started in this county. At this time, we had 10 plus local bands. We had the Jubilee. We had the Blue Ridge Music Center. We have Deep Roots, Singer-Songwriter Festival, the Crooked Road, Fiddlers Convention. I started Mountain Soul at Christ Episcopal Church, and I started Music on the Deck at Harmony Hill, which led to Music on Main. So when I said my good news is that the Jubilee is coming on board, that was wonderful because they were going to agree to let us book Mountain Park that night, which we paid for, $250, $50 per musician. And if you look, these are the bands that we put down in 2016 for a total of $950. After that, I had no more money. But it was so successful that I came to the town and I went to the county and I said, I think not anything to do with what Barbara Halsey did, but we lucked out totally in creating an event that the entire community enjoys. So we did it for 3 years. We passed it off to the SRC. No fault of their own. They had really bad weather in 2019. Then COVID, the streetscape hit. The chamber did an excellent job with it last year. But about January of this year, the chamber began to talk with us and said it just really wasn't a good fit. And Lisa talked to me and said, you know, I just don't have time to book these musicians. I don't know the language to speak. That's just not my thing. And you all do a lot of music with the Arts Council, and we think it would be a better fit. So in January, end of January, we're asked to take on this huge event with $0 and 0 musicians booked. I cannot tell you how long and how many hours that I spent filling this notebook up. And it has June through October, and there are 5 groups of music booked each month, plus the headliner. Not only did I have to go through and research all of these bands and try to get a variety of music to bring into this county, but I had to create a contract, send a contract to every single group, and we got our last one in today. So 30 groups have been booked since the end of January, and we're getting ready to put it out next week for all of you to see. I think you'll be extremely pleased with the quality of music that we have booked, And when we started, the last year I did it, I started and spent $950. The last time I did it in 2018, I spent $9,000, almost $10,000. It costs $20,850 to get these 30 groups. And why did we move it to Saturday night? Walking up and down the street, and I think any of you that know me, just stay around me sometime. I'm a people person. I want to go up and find out where you're from. Why did you come to our beautiful county? What can we do to keep you here? And as I would talk to these people, so many of them told me, we love music on Main, but we get up here late on Friday night. And we have a cabin in Piney Creek and Laurel Mountain or wherever. And by the time we get up there, we either have to turn around and come right back, or we don't come back at all. And if you'd move it to Saturday night, that would be a better fit for us. And more people can come. We have family members who come up. And so the Arts Council, not Barbara Halsey, but the 16-member Arts Council Board voted to take on Music on Main, and they voted to come to the board and ask if we could move it to Saturday night, just because we truly felt that people would be more relaxed on a Saturday. They would be ready to have their Friday night football games would be over, and the school system had asked us to do this. And on Saturday, it'd just be a good day that we can bring people in and create this wonderful event for our community. And I want all of you to know, every single person is a volunteer. Nobody gets paid for this. And I have monthly meetings with all of the presidents of the Arts Council in Western North Carolina. I am one of two in Western North Carolina that is not a paid position. You cannot begin to imagine the hours that we're putting into this to do something good for the community. And I want everybody in this room to know that I have no hard feelings toward Jack Jones. I taught his children. I've known his family forever. I am more than willing to sit down, and I think the mayor has a great idea. I will do anything in my power, and I think any board member will, to work to make this happen, because it's a good thing. And that's what we're supposed to be doing. We work together to bring good things to our community. So you've got my blessing on that. Thank you.
Mr.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
before you step away, you may not know the answer to this question, but if you contacted all those bands that you have booked and asked them to move to a Friday night, would they be able to do that, or
No.
would you lose
No.
any of them?
Because I've had to. I'll just let out a little secret. We have the Kruger brothers coming in October.
Wow.
Do you know how big that is for Allegheny County? The Kruger brothers. I cannot tell you how long we worked on getting that one booking. They go all over the world. They were in Switzerland when we got them booked. So these people are coming, once we release the list. We have local musicians, but we have people coming from Charlotte, from Asheville, all around North Carolina. And so asking us to move this to from Saturday to Friday night's impossible. We could not do it at this point. We did move it up 5 to 7 because we felt like that would be better for the merchants. They wouldn't have to keep their stores. It wouldn't be such a long day for them. And I really paid attention last year when the chamber had Music on Main, and I noticed when the headliner would begin, and they had it, and I used the same time. We would do 6 to 8, and then 8 to 10 would be the headliner. And I noticed by about 8:30, some of our older folks were getting up, trying to leave, not because they didn't like the music, but because it's getting dark in the later months. And if you've stayed in Allegheny County very long, you'll see people want to get home before dark. So we moved it up from 5 to 7, and then 7 to 9 for the headliner. And one final thing about the Jubilee, that was my brother's favorite place. He was there every Tuesday and every Saturday night that he could be there. He loved nothing better than plug into old time music. If he were alive today, I guarantee you, if the Kruger brothers were playing right across the street, he'd be in the Jubilee. It wouldn't have kept him from going. And I've been in the Jubilee and I've seen most of those people are in there dancing. That's why they come. They want to dance. Well, if they can dance for 2 or 3 hours, I think we can help them get from the car into the Jubilee. I don't think that's going to be a big problem. And I-
One more to that point. I didn't realize until I got to thinking about it. Some patrons might not want to be seen being pushed to the Jubilee in a wheelchair. So I'll take that back. And anybody who has a golf cart in town that would be willing to loan it to me, we can put signs on it that says Jubilee Taxi, and I'll drive around to the parking lots and bring them to you.
So at this juncture, we've already made a decision. You got 30 bands committed for 20 grand. Do we have a verbal commitment from you and your organization that you're gonna sit down with Mr. Jones and his organization, and you're gonna work out the details of facilitating his customers getting to his venue? Is that what I'm hearing that's gonna happen? Do we have a,
That's what he said at the beginning of the meeting.
right, do we have a verbal commitment from both of you all that you're gonna sit down and he's gonna give you his cell phone
Earlier
number?
today, it was communicated to Mr. Jones that I would meet with him, and I think he agreed that we would.
Okay,
we
so-
would meet.
So that agreement's already been made, and so you're gonna do everything you can to facilitate getting his customers to his venue. And this is recorded, it's live, everybody's hearing what we're saying. So we've got a verbal commitment, and Mr. Jones, does that meet your satisfaction?
Good.
So I think
Okay.
we'll let everybody go, and I'll
Outstanding.
certainly shut up.
Outstanding.
Thank
Thank you for the comments. Thank
We
each and
appreciate
every one.
everybody.
Jack,
discussing
thank you for
this.
your comments. Appreciate you coming in here tonight. And hopefully you two or everybody that's involved, get together, work this thing out. Let's have us a good time. Everybody be happy. There being no other business, I'll open the floor for public comments. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Cole, you did have one other thing, your contract. I'm sorry, Cole. I'm sorry.
Council, before you've got a contract. This is with App Healthcare. Mr. Manager Wilmuth and I have met with a representative and have been in discussion back and forth via email and phone calls with a representative from App Health. They have had some leftover funding from wages, from turnover and that kind of thing this year, and they decided to create some grant opportunities. So what's listed in this grant would be 10 park benches, 3 bike racks, 1 bike repair stand. There is also in here materials. They will not pay for the labor or the installation, but materials for bocce ball courts to be installed at Krause Park. You may be asking me why bocce ball courts. After speaking with some folks who represent the Special Olympics here in the county, 2 of the big events that they compete in is bowling and bocce ball. And currently, there's nowhere in the county for them to play bocce ball. So when they play bocce ball, they have to paint a field on the ground. And if they hold a tournament and folks come from Charlotte and all over the state, they have to paint fields and find somewhere to hold it. So this would give them a permanent home to play bocce ball as well. And then also listed in this is a frame for a handicap accessible swing. And the reason that there's just a frame is we've had a commitment, and she's actually in the crowd, Jennifer Swink, that with one of her candle lines, the BU collection, she had taken a percentage of those proceeds and has agreed to buy the platform for that swing. And that would come before the council down the road before it's installed. But so basically all we have to do is just provide receipts to this grant. That's our obligation. And I think it's something that
We
we
already
should.
have this grant. We just need to accept it.
Correct.
Motion to accept.
A motion.
Second.
And a second. All in favor, show of hands to accept this. 5-0 on that. Now, there being no other business, we'll move into public comments. If you want to comment on tonight's meeting, you can come up. I'll give you 3 minutes and we'll open that up now. There being no movement to the podium, we'll close our public comments. And we will be going into, I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session. So at this time, I'll entertain that motion.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
And all in favor, show of hands. Thank you. We will be going into closed session, so everyone is asked to leave the room. And we will reconvene after that to adjourn our meeting. So thank you. We will now go into closed session.